I'm gonna try to make a quick garden tour. It's kind of drizzling outside. I figured the lighting would be good. There are my dogs getting their exercise in. Maybe I can get the kids to actually walk them so they don't have to just wrestle for exercise. Alright. Been watching a bunch of YouTube videos about gardening. It just makes me want to get out to mine. So this was thought about doing a flower bed and then kind of abandoned it when I found out our dogs just kind of tear up everything that's outside a fence. But what's left, I've got some daikon radish seeds here. There's some iris bulbs that have never flowered, but I got them last year. What else is still here? This is a lily that our guy who weed eats for us keeps cutting, but it did flower before he cut it this year. And then I have some purslane. So this to me is worth protecting too. So I love snacking on some purslane. And I've got actually quite a bit in this corner right here. So Jacob dug a deep hole for dog poo composter for us and found some rocks deep down in our soil. I'm pretty sure our neighborhood used to be a golf course is what I've heard, and so our top layer of soil is not bad at all, but once he started getting deeper down he found some rocks. Heavy clay, but we had a few inches before it got that bad, so it's a pretty good scenario. So here I'll start with the outer walk. I love some volunteers. This is I'm pretty sure this is a cucumber binding up right here, and a tomatillo that I'm pretty sure that was a volunteer that I moved over here. So it's flowering, but I don't see any fruit set yet. But this guy right next door has some fruit set. And this was the only one that I started indoors that actually made it. And it's got flowers, but I don't see any fruit yet. So various stages. That's why I overplant. My rose bush in the corner. Now this little section right here is probably too tight to have a rose bush next to it, but I can correct that in the future so it's not so tight. But I just keep trimming that rose bush back so it's not actually sticking out in the path. But I moved this rose bush and divided it, and it seems pretty happy about it. It's growing really well. Some amaranth down there that I'm letting grow just to kind of see what it looks like. Didn't plant it. They're volunteering everywhere from somebody else's yard. I've never had it before. So I'm gonna let a couple of them back there grow because I'm not growing anything else there, and we'll see. There's a leftover pea. I grew peas back behind this rose bush, and it actually became like a flea beetle trap. It got ate up, but my rose bush didn't. So that worked out well. So over here, I've got this zinnia starting to bloom. It's bushed out pretty well there. And some tomatoes. Very few of my tomatoes to have labels for, and even the ones I do have labels for, I can hardly read. But this one's a black crim. So that should be some decent sized fruit, and you can see how fluted it is there. That's fun. This one, I think some fruit's on its way, so I'll get to find out what that is. This one right here, I'm pretty sure is the currant. Because they're really small. I mean, that looks a little bigger than the currants typically are. But this is what I've noticed from the currants, is that they, and maybe this is all cherry tomatoes, still learning. But most of your big fruit, it sets off the fruit, and then that's it. And so you can clean the suckers and keep it single stem. Like right here is another sucker. Let me get that off. But these, after they set fruit, sometimes they'll start to send up a new stem off where they fruited. Let me move this leaf, you can see it better. So that is new to me, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do about it. I may leave it. I don't know. I think my plants will be fine either way, and not, well, that one's starting to, I guess. That one has a fruit on the, oh sorry, you can't see where I'm pointing. that one has a fruit on the end. So I don't know, I'm learning, but I love how tiny these are. They're just adorable, and I've heard they're super sweet, so I'm really looking forward to. This is probably the tomato I'm most excited about, because I've never quite been able to snack on cherry tomatoes. The acidity, tartness, it's just, I don't know, it's just, I want to be able to just snack on tomatoes, but I haven't been able to. But these may be the ticket. These may be ones that are sweet enough and mild enough that I can snack on. But either way, in a salad, you don't have to chop them up. I can just throw them in, and they're the perfect bite size for a salad. So I like that too. It's another zinnia friend right next door. I started this little trellis thing I've had forever. I pulled it off the side of a road. Probably should spray paint it next year. It's too late now, but I planted cucumbers along it, and they didn't pop up for like a week or two, not a week or two, much longer than that. And so I kind of gave up, because they were really old seeds, like from 2013. So I kind of just gave up, but now I've got 3 of them, maybe 4, growing. Is that purslane? That may be purslane, it may not be. I want to let it grow a little more. It looks a little thicker like purslane. I love me some purslane. And some comfrey that volunteered to let that go. Oh, this is Sweetie. I have a label. I thought I didn't. That has an S on it, which means this is Sweetie, which I thought that looked a little too big for a currant tomato. So this is actually a Sweetie. Okay, but I do have currant tomatoes. That might be the one next to it. It might not. This is the fun part about not labeling, is that, oops, sorry, get to be surprised. Okay, so right here is a type of salvia. I've seen it called hummingbird sage. It smells fantastic and it grows big. And I did divide it this year, and it still got huge. So I definitely will be making plans and calling more friends next spring or fall to share this plant, because it's getting a little too big. It's about to be the whole width here, and as beautiful as it is, I want food. Okay, so coming through here, coming past the tomatoes right here, this is a 4 o'clock. Never grown this before. Got it from a neighbor, so I'm interested to see those flowers. Shouldn't the dogs take off? Dogs are chasing each other around the yard. There they go. So up. It's fun to watch them play. So over here, another tomato, starting to set fruit, so maybe I'll find out what it is. But it's probably a bigger tomato, just the way it's setting fruit, you know, after about 4 leaves and then fruit, or your cherry tomatoes are just popping them out all over the place. So there's another view of the cherries, how much more there are there. See, this is what I think is a currant, because the biggest ones in the back are still pretty small. So we'll see. I just planted, so this, I had peas on this trellis here, and I've got maybe just a couple plants and just trying to give them their full range. I just laid down the other ones, kind of chop and drop style. And then I have planted some midget watermelons and some petite gris cantaloupe melons. They're both supposed to be pretty small, so I think this trellis can handle it. And both I've never grown before, so I'm looking forward to that. Some more salvia, but a shorter one. Purple. My mom gave me that one when we first moved here. And then another tomato. It's gonna get bigger. There's one down here too. These are all pretty fluted, so I'm kind of interested to see what it is. I don't see a label down below. Got all these daikon radish pods. Going to seed. A friend gave me a ton of seeds, and I want to save and share back what I can. Enjoyed eating them too. That's for another time. Let's see. And then over here, I've got cilantro right next door, going to seed. I'll let it just kind of lean against the fence. I've been stepping over it. I probably don't need this much, but I can share, can compost. No, it's nice to have options. Okay, so coming around right here. Also, that yellow one in the back should not be yellow. That's a blueberry, and it's just not happy. I actually fed it with some acid-loving plant fertilizer or something. I lost the box. I don't remember what it is, but it's supposed to help with the acidity, because blueberries like it really acidic. Everything else likes it mildly acidic, which seems to be what my garden is. I don't soil test because I just don't trust that there's any uniformity, just the way I garden. I don't do the same thing everywhere. I'm pretty spotty. So anyway, I fed them today, and maybe they'll bounce back. I don't really count on blueberries. My plan is to maybe get big pots and really give them the specialized care and attention they need. But yeah, I'm not there yet. I see the dogs are near the entrance. Make sure they don't get in here. But right here is where this spring I connected 2 beds when I redesigned for the spiral and wanted all my soil to be connected. So this strip right here was all compost that I kind of composted in place. But anyway, I have a bazillion volunteer tomatoes in here. And I haven't staked them all, so I kind of might just let them sprawl, give them to someone if I hear they want. I don't know. I don't really have a for sure plan, but I just have a hard time ending their lives, so they're still alive. Let's see. So where am I? Over here, more zinnias. I just kind of throw them in there. Look, I got a nice big purslane in the middle right there. I'm excited about that. Down there you can see some wood sorrel. I've decided to let wood sorrel and clover grow as a nice kind of ground cover. I had a ton of lettuce over here. Usually I don't have bare spots like that, but I had a ton of lettuce. I've been just kind of chopping and dropping in these bare spots. I moved a volunteer tomato right here. It doesn't look great, but it's better than nothing. There's a volunteer in place. I think this over here is where my volunteer patch starts. Some marigolds down there. Those are getting close to blooming. This, I don't think I have a label to tell you what it is. Grab a weed. That looks like a nice little round tomato. That one looks like it might be a little bit, it's a little funky. But I'm sure it'll taste good, whatever it is. This one looks like it'll be a bigger one. It's got that kind of, well, I guess what I've been calling fluted appearance. There's some lettuce trying to come back, even though I told it was done. Some Chinese mustard greens I've let go to seed. I'm trying to keep them out of the path, but let them mature. This corner right here, when I was moving my rose bush, I accidentally split it, which worked out great. So I just put it on this other corner with another 4 o'clock. So some sameness there. I did put a couple tomato plants on the edge there. Again, these were either volunteer or rooted from suckers. So no big investment there if they don't make it. If I get a few tomatoes, that's still more than I would have had otherwise, so worth it to me. Other thing, I'm going to come back across the way here. Right there in the middle is some sort of chrysanthemum that I got from a neighbor. So that looks like it might be flowering soon, so I'm kind of excited about that. New type of flower. I'm not great at growing flowers, so I get excited anytime I'm successful with a new flower. I'm pretty sure it's some sort of native variety, which is always a good sign to me. It means it's not going to be too hard to grow. So while I'm here, I'm going to pull this sucker off. Pretty sure, let me just verify it's a sucker. Yeah, there's my leader. Okay. might end soon because this is getting long and I've barely made it around. But more tomatoes, some chamomile. Did not plant any of this chamomile the last couple of years. It just reseeds itself. I harvest a lot and then I just get tired and let it go to seed. Some more cilantro going to seed up here. Making a little jungly right here. Here's another big, man, these come up quick, these suckers. There's a sucker right there. Where are the fruits on that tomato? It's got flowers. May not have fruits further down. That may be it. Look, I got these way too close together. You can see with these poles, these are way too close together. But we're gonna make it work best we can. The humidity hasn't really hit here yet, so I'm not worried about disease just yet. I've got them pruned up from the bottom, so that gives a little more space. These seeds will be out of here soon too, and that'll open up some more space. But you can see this is more mustard seeds, some more cilantro seeds. It's pretty jungly over here, but those are flowers too. Pollinators all good. Some lemon balm down here. On this lemon balm, I've been kind of cutting it away from these tomatoes, but my plan is to maybe move this next year. So see this chamomile all along the edge here. I love like it being on the edge because as you walk by and brush it, you can smell it. And this lemon balm is just, I could hold it under my nose all day. So that's something I'd like to move closer to the edge, so that as you brush up against it and get to enjoy that aroma even when I'm not picking it. So it's doing well there, but I may move it around next year. Another tomato down here. I'm pretty sure that was a moved volunteer. It's pretty small compared to the others. It's like less than half the height of the others, but we have such a long summer growing season, it'll get a chance to put on fruit. What else? And then, so my zinnias and marigolds, so there are some marigolds down here. They're just on the verge of flowering. See that one right there? It's getting close. I just had a big box of seeds from last year that I saved and just tossed them. Let them tell me where they wanted to grow. So, nice big marigold right here at the base of this. There's a tomato. This yarrow I got from a neighbor, and it has blown up quickly. So, I'm not sure if I'll move it or not. I do, lemon balm is supposed to be really invasive too, but I've been able to harvest enough that it's kind of stayed in check. So I'm hoping the yarrow, I'll be able to kind of keep it in check too. We'll see. I think being in the middle of other things I'm harvesting helps me pay attention to that more. So versus like my front yard, my stuff is just going wild and I don't harvest a lot out front, so I don't do as good a job of keeping it in check. But just notice that tomato over there has a sucker that is really far gone. Let me just leave it. So, oh goodness, almost to 20 minutes. Okay, I'm gonna keep going. Just people, if someone actually watches this and gets tired of how long it is, you can pause and finish later. These are my Egyptian walking onions. They're perennial. And so these start out as one plant and it divided. I think I already harvested off one from there. So it'll divide on the bottom and then it'll put more bulbs out on top. Right here is where I took some bulbs off and tried to plant them. They look kind of rough right now. This one I've actually let it go ahead and lay down. And I don't know if you can see it from here. I may have to go to the other side. Right down here is where it's laying down. It's not actually rooting anything just yet, but it's got some good bulbs. So you can see how there's like an actual onion bulb right there. So, man, this tomato, I've kind of just let it sprawl. It's one of the currants. See how tiny it is. It's kind of just sprawling and I'm kind of just letting it. But there's some more. I've tried to transplant a few bulbs. I may have done it too early. This one is, yeah, that one's not doing anything. There's no roots or anything on it. But it's so prolific that it makes it easy to experiment with. And when it's not working, then I can research it. I research a lot, but I also impulsively garden a lot too. This is the red sail lettuce I grew this spring that was super prolific, super beautiful, super yummy. So I want seeds from it. So I've got some going to seed there. This one kind of fell down, but it's finding its way back up to set seed. I've got one back over there setting seed. One there. I went through and chose which ones I wanted to go to seed. And then I think I probably just let a few more go because I missed them. Or they, you know, a lot of stuff I cut and it keeps seeding. There's some more mustard seeds there. Kind of trim back to the walkway. They're so prolific. Make a lot more seeds than I need. Which, the back garden is another story. So I might stop right here because that's a good quarter of my garden. There's a lot to see. So I'm going to actually go ahead and break this up into a little more, I hate to say bite-sized portions because it's already over 20 minutes, so meal-sized portions instead of a feast. But while I'm here, this is my stopping point. My little peach trees. I have 2 peach trees that were volunteers that I let grow. This one's a little bit smaller and it's closer to the street, so Jacob really wants to try to dig it up and move it, so we're gonna have to research that and see if that's possible or not. But it's on the north side of my garden, the north corner, so it's not a bad spot. It doesn't shade much compared to that peach tree. It shades a bit more, but anyway, it's fine. I don't want to have to worry about big trucks cutting off limbs and stuff. So so that's where I'll end this segment, is with this my smallest peach tree.